Hello friends, this is Jayant Ponkar working as a assistant professor, Department of Information Technology, Tushi Ramji Gaikwad Patil College of Engineering and Technology. So today we are going to learn about types of distributed computing system, and it is the part of subject distributed system. So we will see the basic regarding the distributed system or types of distributed system. For starting the discussion of principles of distributed system, we must have to distinguish between distributed computing system, distributed information systems, and distributed embedded systems. So we will start our study with the distributed computing system. An important class of distributed system is the one used for high performance computing tasks. Roughly speaking, one can make a distinguish between two subgroups. In cluster computing, the underlying hardware consists of collection of similar workstations or PCs closely connected by means of highly speed local area network. In addition, each node runs the same operating system. The situation becomes quite different in the case of grid computing. This subgroup consists of distributed systems that are often constructed as a federation of the computer system, where each system may fall under a different administrative domain and may be very different when it comes into hardware, software, and deploy network technology. So we will talk about the cluster computing system now. Cluster computing system become popular when the price or performance ratio of the personal computer and workstation improved. At a certain point, it become financially and technically attractive to build a supercomputer using off-the-shelf technology by simply looking up a collection of relatively simple computers in a high-speed network. In virtually all cases, cluster computing is used for parallel programming, in which a single computer intensive program is run in parallel to multiple machines. Now look at the diagram. There are computer nodes and one master node is connected. So this diagram represents an example of the cluster computing system where the computer or compute nodes or various computer node or multiple compute node are connected with the master node through the network. So one well-known example of cluster computer is formed by Linux-based view of clusters, of which the general configuration is shown in figure. Each cluster consists of a collection of computer nodes that are controlled and accessed by means of a single master node. So all the compute nodes are controlled by means of the master nodes, and whatever operations which will be performed by the compute node, it will be handled and controlled by means of the master node. So the master node typically handle the allocation of nodes to a particular parallel program, maintain a batch queue of submitted jobs, and provide an interface of the user in the systems. As such, the master actually run the middleware needed for the execution of programs and management of the cluster, while the compute node are often need nothing else but the standard operating system is required at the compute node. An important part of this middleware is formed by the libraries of the executing parallel program. As we will discuss regarding the libraries which are effectively provided by advanced message-based communication facilities but not capable of handling faulty process security. So this is what about the cluster computing system. in this one master node will handle all the compute node, and the operation will be performed by the compute node with its component and local OS which is available with the compute node, and that all the tasks which are performed by the compute node will be handed over to the master node, and control of the compute node will be taken care by means of the master nodes. So master node remotely access to the compute node, and this is what the operation of the cluster computing system. Then we will see regarding the grid computing system. A characteristic features of cluster computing is its homogeneity. In most cases, the computer in a cluster are largely the same. They all have the same operating system and are all concerned through the same network. In contrast, grid computing systems have a highly degree of heterogeneity and no assumptions are made concerning hardware, operating system, network, administrative domain, security policies, etc. A key issues in a grid computing is that resources from the different organizations are brought together to allow the collaboration of a group of people or institution. Such a collaboration is realized in the form of virtual organization. The people belonging to the same virtual organization have access right to the resources that are provided to that organization. Typically, the resources consist of compute server including supercomputer, possibly implemented as a cluster computer, storage facility, and databases. These are the things which can be accessed by the organization, virtual organizations we can say. In addition to these, special network devices such as telescope, sensor, etc. can also be provided by the grid computing system to the virtual organization. Given its nature, much of the software of realizing grid computing involves around providing access to resources from different administrative domain and to only those users and applications that are belong to a specific virtual organization. For this reason, focus is often on the architectural issues. The architecture proposed by the Foster is given in this diagram. So the architecture consists of 4 layers. So we can see very easily there are 4 layers architecture of the grid computing system. The lowest fabric layer provide interface to the local resources at a specific sites. Note that these interfaces are tailored to allow sharing of resources within a virtual organization. Typically, they will provide function for queuing the state and capabilities of resource along with functions for actual resource management. For example, locking resources. The connectivity layer, that is the next layer, the connectivity layer consists of the communication protocol for supporting grid transactions that span the uses of multiple resources. For example, protocols are needed to transfer data between resources or to simply access a resource from a remote location. In addition, the connectivity layer will contain security protocol to authenticate users and resources. Note that in many cases, human users are not authenticated. Instead, program acting on behalf of the user are authenticated. In this case, delegating rights from a user to program is an important function that need to be supported in the connectivity layer. We return extensively to delegations when discussing security in distributed system. Then next layer is resource layer, and this resource layer is responsible for managing a single resource. It uses the function provided by the connectivity layer and calls directly to the interface made available by the fabric layer. For example, this layer will often function for obtaining configuration information on a specific resource, or in general to perform specific operations such as creating a process or reading data. The resource layer is thus seen to be responsible for access control and hence will rely on the authentication performed as the part of connectivity layer. Then the next layer is hierarchy. The next layer in the hierarchy is the collective layer. It deals with handling the access to multiple resources and typically consists of the services for resource discovery, allocation and scheduling of tasks into the multiple resources, data replications and so on. Unlike the connectivity and resource layer, which consist of relatively small standard collection of protocols, the collective layer may consist of many different protocols for many different purposes, reflecting the board specification of services it may offer to a virtual organization. Then finally, the application layer consists of applications that operate with virtual organization and which make use of grid computing environment. Typically, the collective and connectivity and resource layer form the heart of what would be called a grid middleware layer. These layers jointly provide access to and management of the resources that are potentially dispersed across the multiple sites. An important observation from the middleware perspective is that the grid computing, the notion of a site or administrative unit is common. The prevalence is organized by the gradual shift to a service-oriented architecture in which sites offer access to various layers through a collection of web services. So this is by now has led the definition of alternative and architecture known as Open Grid Service Architecture, OGSA. So this is all about the grid computing system, which is very helpful while we are working in the distributed system. Then we will see about the transaction system. So in transaction processing system, to clarify our discussion, let us concentrate on database applications. In practice, operations on a database are usually carried out in the form of transactions. Programming using transaction requires special primitives that must be either supplied by the underlying distributed system or by language routing system. Typically, the example of transaction primitives are given in this table. Here, primitives are given for the transaction and their description is also given. So begin transaction having the mark the start of the transaction. It is used for the starting of the transaction. It says that now the transaction is to be start. Then in transaction it is indicate the termination of transaction and try to commit. Then abort transaction, kill the transaction and restore the old values as it is. Then read transaction, read primitive, it is used for read the data from a file, table and otherwise from other resources. Then write primitive, write data to a file, a table or otherwise from the other resources. So from this diagram we have learned about the various primitives regarding the transactions. Then we will see about the characteristics of transaction processing system. First is the atomic characteristic of the transaction processing system, and this is used to avoid the outside world. The transaction happens individually. Then second characteristics properties is consistent. The transaction does not violate system invariant. Then isolate. Concurrent transaction do not interface with each other. So this is also very important transaction characteristics. Concurrent transaction do not interface with each other. So in parallel, whatever operation which would be performed, that should not be interface among themselves, then the communication will be done very properly, so or smoothly. So that's why isolation is required. Then durable. Once a transaction commits, the changes are permitted. So these properties are often referred by their initial letter, that is called ACID. The first key property exhibited by all the transaction is that they are atomic. This property ensure that each transaction either happen completely or not at all, and if it happens in a single individual transaction action. While a transaction is in process, other processes cannot see any of the intermediate state. Then second property is consistent. What is this means is that if the system has certain invariant that must always hold, if they hold before the transaction, they will hold afterward too. For example, in in banking system, a key invariant is law of observation of money. After every internal transfer, the amount of money in the bank must be the same as it was before or the transfer. But for brief moment during the transaction, this invariant may be violated. This violation is not visible outside the transaction, however. The third property says that transactions are isolated or serializable. What is mean is that if two or more transactions are running at the same time to each of them and to other processes, the final result looks as all the transactions can sequentially in some order. The fourth property says that the transactions are durable. It refers to the fact that once a transaction commits, no matter what happens, the transaction goes forward and the result becomes permanent. So this is what about the fourth property. So this is all about the transaction processing system. So next we will see what is meant by nested transaction. Here in this diagram you can see there are databases of two things, that is the airline and hotel application and airline applications are given. Both the databases are independent databases and they are connected through the system and they are accessed by a single system. So by using the nested transaction we can access the databases which are available or which are created for the different databases, different applications, and user can access it by using the nested transaction. So nested transaction is very helpful in the distributed system. So then transaction processing system, in this the role of TP monitor, that is the transaction processing monitor, is given. In this diagram you can see there is a client sending request to the server but before going to the server, that request will send to the transaction processing monitor, and transaction processing monitor will process that request. It hold that request and it will send to all the servers which are connected in the distributed system, and that server will reply to the transaction processing monitor, and then that transaction processing monitor will send it as a reply to the client as according to their requirement. So this is what the role of transaction processing monitor in the distributed system. Then we will see the middleware as the communication facilitator in enterprise application integration. Here the communication middleware is nothing but the distributed system which work to communicate between the client and the server applications. So here middleware facilitator is the distributed system which take response from the application program, client application, and client application will send a request to the communication middleware, and middleware is nothing but a distributed system which plays the role of intermediator or communicator or facilitator, which provide that request to the server, and from that servers the data will be sent to the communication middleware, that is distributed system, and then it will provide to the application program or to the client application. So this is all about the types of distributed computing systems. Thank you.